Hello there. So Blue Maki has gotten a rerun, and of course I want to give my personal analysis of it. Since I'm someone who is a big fan of Maki and also a big fan of JJK Phantom Parade, I would love to talk about her. So right off the bat, I want to talk about her, which would be she has incredible taijutsu. Like, that is a lot, genuinely. Like, if we were to do some calculations, and please take my calculations with a grain of salt, since once again I'm not very good at math, and I could also be wrong about this. Always remember that. But first off, let's go to Toji, who's better than Maki. In this game. We have 10,000, 10,008, 10,891, plus that with these, okay. So the reason why Toji's taijutsu stat is so fucking huge is mainly because of the passive, which is this. And also, we're also going to talk about, the critical percentage, what the fuck, these things, other stuff like that. But basically, Toji has around 25%. So 75% taijutsu snap for 3 turns when a critical hit is performed. So that would be 1 point times 75, there you go. That means Toji has 19,059. 19,000. Alright. So Toji's taijutsu is this number, 19,000. Toji. And let's go with Maki. Maki's taijutsu is 12396. 396, right there. Let's times that, of course, because you still have the passive, which, depending on the enemy, the fewer there are, the higher it is. So we have a maximum of 30. So right off the bat, we can see here that we have, it's slightly bit, smaller than Toji. Oopsie. So we can't really, and also it can also just be a bit weaker than that, because it could also just be 10, and that's kind of shit. However, most of the time in tower, it is 30. So there's only one enemy in most of the time in tower. So that's not too important, basically. And now something important to compare, of course, is the ultimate, because the ultimate is something that is incredibly like the biggest comparison we can do. Because the problem is people are immediately gonna compare Maki to Toji. And that's very fair, genuinely very fair. So, in total we have... What that is... 1200%. Which is pretty low. Genuinely, deadass, that is low. But, however, something important to talk about is this. It fills your ult gauge. And we have, again, the ult gauge is pretty fucking high. But it's also really important to consider these things. The ultimate gauge increase is fucking huge. And it's for 2 turns. And also, Maki's stats in general are fucking huge. In the multipliers, I mean. So let's compare S2 to Toji's S2. Toji's S2 is a maximum of almost 500 and has really fucking huge critical damage. However, the crit rate is a bit low. Maki actually boosts the Taijutsu stat by 35 while attacking, so essentially, we're gonna assume that's gonna be one enemy. This going to be again 1, 2, 3, 9, 6 times that by 1.30, so that's 65. That'll be higher than Toji. So in general, you can expect that the S2 will be pretty much equal. Like, okay. You can pretty much accept that it'll be pretty much equal. Because, again, these are pretty huge. Like, the buffs you'll get that last for 3 turns, so that means you can do S3. And also, you get, you know, the... what do you call these? Like, what do you even call these? Like, you can combo, basically. And even better would be, when you consider that you could also, you know, use Flying Kunai again, which increase it even further. Whoa, what the fuck? What am I doing? What am I doing? So another 25. So it'll be 35. Plus that, so 65. So we get 65. There you go. What? Wait. Wait, no. So chat, I swear I'm not stupid. Hold on. Give me a second. There you go. And again, it goes even further. That's huge. Like, the buffs she can give herself are fucking huge. And we're not even counting the critical damage, by the way. Those are still, like, it's average. It's average, of course, you know. And that's why I'm basically saying, like, the buffs she gives herself are huge. 3 turns, so this means we can do S2, S1 to S3. Whoa, what the fuck? Yeah, S2 to S1 to S3. And we haven't talked about S3, which is literally higher than any of Toji's, any of Toji's skills, except for of course, but... Because Toji's S2 is stronger. Like, it's one of the... it's stronger than Toji's S2. I mean... And also the crit... And also, she increases her own crit damage, which is incredible to know, because, of course, let's... That would essentially put her, like, better crit damage than, you know, than Toji's other stuff. Well, not better, but, like, it puts her to almost equal. The problem now we can talk about as why, you know, because again, in the tier list, in the tier list, Toji is actually ranked a lot higher, and is actually ranked lower than these two. And the reason for it is pretty simple. It's because she is in AoE, and AoE is still really fucking important because there's like a lot of, you know, enemies that have evade, which, you know, they can just dodge. And because, you know, this game's pretty luck-based, it's fucked up. But I will say that I don't agree with Nobara being here. I personally prefer that Maki goes around here. I don't think that Nobara is higher than Maki. Because, again, the multipliers are not that far away from Toji. But once again, we can still nuke with Toji. That's the important part to think about. That there's also, you know, attack nullification removal, and also the buff removal from all enemies. That's still important to talk about. But if we're talking about pure damage, you know, like, it's not that... Well, it's still pretty far, you know, because, like, it may not seem much, because, like, oh, oh, it's not that much because it's 1600 and this one is 1200, and like, yeah, you can say that. That's fair. But like, and I agree. Like if we're doing like a new playstyle, that's gonna be pretty fucking low. But I will say Maki somewhat makes up for it with her overall kit, because Maki's kit has incredible multipliers, and she can clear a lot of decent content. Of course, I don't think she's of the level of someone like Jogo. That's just disingenuous. And I do think Maki is generally like upper S rank. Like around there. And the only reason why people think that Maki's a lot weaker than what she thinks she is mainly because the fact that she doesn't feel like she's doing a lot of damage, mainly because, of course, she doesn't have like this nuke playstyle that Toji, Yuta, Nobara, and other units have. Like, for example, right? Like, let's see here. What's a good example? Actually, yeah, like a lot of people think. I don't think we have a particularly good example, but like I say, Domain Gojo, because like Domain Gojo is an incredible DPS, I would say, and he can clear a lot of like a lot of floors all by himself. Like he can clear like a decent content of red floors. No, not all by himself, but like in a team, the good team, of course. Like with the proper supports, like and people have always thought that his DPS is weaker than Blue Gojo, mainly because he doesn't feel like he does enough damage. It doesn't feel like it because he doesn't have a nuke playstyle. He does S3 all the time. And again, I personally don't think that Domain Gojo is this high. I think Domain Gojo's around this level, like end of SS. I don't think he's this level. But still, he's still an incredible unit, and I've always been an advocate for him being like an incredible unit and thinking that he's one of the best like DPSs in terms of red. Well, no, that's not really sick, but I still don't think he compares to Yuta, and Toji, and I personally think Nobara is a lot better than Domain Gojo. I can't really say for Red UG since I haven't really used them. I don't have them as well, so I can't talk about them all that much. And once again, I do think Maki deserves to be a lot higher, because again, we also just have Domain Gojo, which increases a lot of her damage. Which again, she can do S2, S1, S3, which again boost her buffs a significant margin and does a lot of damage. Or we can also just do S1, S2, S1 into Ultimate, which again, she does not do bad damage. Her damage is pretty fucking good, and I think it's disingenuous to just say. She's a pretty mid DPS, and in a way she is. Like, she's good. That's it. She's just good. And that's it. Basically, I kind of just don't have anything to say other than that. I just think she's a decent DPS. I don't think she's anything impressive. But if you only had Blue Maki, if you only had Blue Maki for a blue DPS, I think you'd be fine. Because you can always just. Because, in my opinion, he's higher than Blue Gojo. The reason for this because Blue Gojo he's still good. But the problem is his damage is just a bit low. Like, yes, you can do about you can still do a couple million with it. True. But his damage is way too low when he leaves in 7 turns. And that's a problem. That's genuinely a problem. Like, in the long term, he's fucked. He's genuinely fucked. That's why I'm saying, I really am an advocate that Blue Maki is a lot better than Blue Gojo. And wait, not a lot better. I think it's disingenuous to say. But like, she's not that far ahead. Like, she's not far behind, and she's not far ahead. Like, they're pretty much equal, I'd say. Like, I know I'm flip-flopping my opinions right now. It's mainly because I'm trying to gauge my opinion. I'm trying to, like, completely assess my opinion to this. But that's kind of my personal review to it. And also, I forgot. I need to also mention that, once again, she couldn't spam her ult a lot. But basically, the only problem I have with Blue Maki in general is that it is such a big fucking pain in the ass to, like, build her. Because every single one of her fucking kids is important. You need S1, S2, S3, and ultimate level 10. And that is fucking expensive! But again, if you like Maki, it's pretty worth it. It's pretty worth it. But again, like, she's a really expensive unit and takes a lot to invest. You know, that's my Blue Maki review. And oh yeah, you might be asking, should I get Maki? No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, genuinely, but like, Blue Maki she's great, but you might as well get Blue Gojo. The reason is Blue Gojo could be easily A5 right now. Sure, Maki will be a bit more worth it in the future because, you know, you can A5 her in the future when she comes to standard, but she's not going on standard, and sorry, she is going on standard and she's not on standard yet. So right now, Blue Gojo is more worth it to use, and she's not that much of an upgrade. So in terms of value, just get Sukuna. I'm sorry, and I don't like Sukuna either. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big Sukuna fan. And personally, I'm a big JJK fan myself. I wouldn't be playing this game if it wasn't. But, you know, I don't like Sukuna, but if you like Sukuna, that's great for you. But you just pull Sukuna, since Sukuna is literally just the best blue DPS right now. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Pull who you want to, if you don't want to, like, get through content. Because again, this game is, in honesty, a bit bad. But that's it, you know. That's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything to say. And I'll also make another video about must pulls and how should you play this game. That's it. See ya.